Alright guys, welcome to RC Mojo. This week we're going to work through bag A on the Tamiya Flatbed trailer. First, before we get to the build, we're going to need some tools. There's a medium and large JIS screwdriver. In a pinch, Phillips will also do, but with Phillips you need to take extra care not to slip and strip out the screw heads. There's a few bits where tweezers will come in handy, some side or flush cutters to remove parts from the parts trees, a knife, pliers, mainly for fitting E-clips, and the manual also wants some instant glue for the tyres, but generally for the Tamiya trucks and lorries they work just fine without gluing them. Some thread lock isn't a bad idea in one or two places too. The kit comes with a small tube of grease, which should be more than enough, although if you're replacing the stock bushings with bearings there really isn't anywhere to use it. Maybe a spot here and there on the leg retract mechanism, but if you've already got a tube of another plastic safe grease that's already open, you might as well just use that. The small Allen key and cross wrench are included in the parts bags, and for what we need them for, they're going to be more than good enough. On to the next page, and we have step 1 of the build. Steps 1 to 3 use parts from bag A. You won't need to touch the other bags until they're cooled up on the left. The screws and bits are in a small bag and need to be poured into something for easy access. I use pudding pots as it's easy to poke around, but you're fairly safe from losing something over the side. Right, for plastic parts we need 3 D9s. That means we want the parts tree D, of which there's 2. And we need the part with a 9 next to it. All the plastic parts are marked the same way, the letter is the tree and the number is the part. Next we have the 2 aluminium end bits marked with a B and C. Make sure you get them at the right ends or you are going to struggle a bit later in the build. Then for screws we have 10 M3x8s, and remember the diagram in the manual is actual size, so it's easy to check if you have the right ones. We also need 10 M3 flange nuts. The last bit we need is the big bit. We need the main aluminium sheet for the base of the load area. It comes with a rather nice blue protective layer that needs to be peeled off. We just need to peel up one corner and pull it off. The sheet has a right way round and a right way up, so we need to compare it to the manual. At the rear of the sheet there's a hole for the rear light wiring, so that's easy. At the front though, there's 2 holes that are not mirrored. They're for the mechanical retract system and need to be on the right side. As we hold it with the front on the left of frame, we want the holes closest to the camera. Right, for assembly, first we need to attach the 3 D9s. At each end there's a hole for one of the flange nuts, but they won't stay in by themselves, so we'll need to watch out for them falling out and rolling away. To fit, we can pop a screw in from the underside of the sheet, offer up the D9 to the top, and carefully drop in a nut, holding it in place with a finger. Then we can do up the screw, but for now we just want to take up the slack until we install the other screw. We need the D9 to move fairly freely so we can line up its hole with the hole in the sheet. Then we just pop in another screw, a nut on the other side, and we nip it up. Same goes for the other 2 D9s, just make sure you check you're fitting them to the right holes, the 2 sets towards the rear of the sheet. Okay, at the ends of the sheet we have the 2 aluminium angles. At the front we want the one stamped with a B and the rear one is C. The parts sit on the underside of the sheet with the outer holes lining up. To attach we use screws from the bottom and a nut on the top. Don't worry about going fully tight with the screws just yet. When we fit the chassis rails in the next step, we might need to loosen them to get everything to line up nicely. Step 2, the chassis rails. We need 4 M3x10s, 4 M3 nylock nuts, 2 D8s, and chassis rails, which, like the sheet, need their protective plastic peeling off. The rails sit on the bottom of the chassis, and you should find that you can squeeze them in between the end parts we just fitted. If not, you need to loosen the corner screws so they can move just enough for everything to fit. We can also see the sheet has a fair bit of a bend to it, which isn't ideal. For the build, it just means we'll have to squeeze it up to get the screws in. From the rail side, we pop a screw into one of the holes shown on the diagram, and through the sheet. On the top side, while holding the screw, we need to offer up a D8 and pop a nut into the hex-shaped hole. Then, while holding it all together, we can do up the screw. Repeat with the other 3, and for now we're going to leave all 4 screws just slightly loose. At the front there's some plastic parts that need to fit between the rails, so a little bit of wiggle room is quite handy. And well, that's it for step 2, not much to it really. Step 3, the sides and corners. We need 8 M3x10s, 4 3x10 self-tappers, 8 M3 nylocks, 12 3mm washers, 4 D3 corner parts and 2 more D8s. All the screws are going to need a washer under their heads on this one. All the holes we're going through are actually slots, so we can adjust the width when we fit the wooden deck. The washers will bridge the gap. For the side, we pop a screw in with its washer in through the end slot and through the hole in the sheet. Then from the top we offer up a D8 so the screw thread goes into the outer hex hole, where we pop in a nut. Hold it all together and we can do up the screw. As usual, we don't quite want to do it up tight. We still want to be able to move things around so we can align the holes as we go. Next, do the same at the other end so the side is fairly stable, then do the 2 middle ones. You can nip up the screws now so the sheet is held straight. We will need to loosen them again when we come to fit the wooden deck. The other side piece fits in exactly the same way, so we're going to fit that one off camera, which just leaves the corner parts. They work just fine either way up, but Tamiya have them with the flat side towards the wooden deck, but it doesn't really make much difference. We use the self-tappers this time. Again, we're going to need to loosen them when we come to fit the deck, so don't worry too much about making them super square right now. We end up with a very nice, mostly metal assembly. I know a flat plate with rails isn't the most exciting thing in the world, but it really is nice to put together. Everything fits really rather nicely. Now, the plan was to continue through bag B today, however I'm writing this rough script while eating my lunch on Christmas Eve, so yeah, time is a bit short. Next we'll be putting together the mechanical legs, which is a fun little mechanism. Best replaced with the electric leg kit, but still it's fun to get them working. So, Merry Christmas, Winter Solstice, Presents Day, Movie Day, whatever you're doing. I hope you have a good day, whether you're in a food coma on the sofa or you're working. See you next year. Right, it's time for the usual ending, so thanks for watching. Like if you liked, subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment if there's something on your mind. Bye guys!